All right, so you ready for this? We're going deep on Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, you guys sent in some awesome stuff about this movie, and
Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm pretty pumped to dive into this one with you.
Yeah.
Blazing Saddles isn't just like, ha-ha funny.
Right.
It's a satirical masterpiece,
Yeah.
taking on the Wild West and racism, even Hollywood itself.
What's wild is this film came out in '74,
Yeah.
like right in the middle of some major social and political change in America.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So that context like really sharpens its satirical edge.
Totally. I mean, think about it. The civil rights movement was still fresh.
Right.
Women's liberation was in full swing.
Yeah.
Releasing a film as bold as Blazing Saddles in that climate,
Yeah.
that was pretty gutsy.
Oh, yeah.
But before we get ahead of ourselves,
Sure.
let's walk through the basic setup
Yeah.
for those who might not have seen it recently.
So the story, it centers on Bart,
Yeah.
a black railroad worker who is appointed sheriff of Rock Ridge. And it's a town, well, let's just say full of some pretty prejudiced people.
Yeah. And it's not like some good deed. Like, this appointment's all part of a scheme by this
Oh, yeah.
crooked politician.
Exactly. He wants to get their land.
Right.
Headley Lamar.
Headley.
Headley.
Yeah.
The bad guy, the villain.
Right.
He figures if he can just make Rock Ridge a total mess,
Uh-huh.
the people will leave and he can buy up all the land.
For
the thing.
nothing.
Yeah. So he's using Bart as like a pawn, right?
Totally, assuming he'll totally fail.
Which on the surface seems like a fair assumption.
Yeah, for a town like Rock Ridge, for sure.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
Bart's way smarter than anyone gives him credit for.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got this ace up his sleeve.
Hmm.
The legendary Waco kid, played by the one and only
Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder, yeah.
Oh, man.
Such a great character.
Oh, he's the best.
He's this, washed up gunslinger,
Yeah.
full of regret,
Right.
and these witty comebacks. Yeah.
But he's also got this surprising depth to him.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Your sources, they talk about this odd poignancy about him.
Yeah.
And I think they're right.
Yeah, totally. He's much more than just like a sidekick.
Right.
There's this like real sadness underneath all that wit.
Yeah.
And together, Bart and the Waco kid,
Yeah.
they're like an unstoppable force.
Oh, yeah.
Both in terms of, outsmarting their enemies
Right.
and delivering like some of the most iconic comedic moments in film history.
Wow. Absolutely.
I mean, we're talking slapstick,
yeah.
satire, wordplay.
Brooks just throws everything at you.
And it all works.
And it sticks. Yeah.
It's wild.
It's like a masterclass in comedic layering.
Yeah.
You think about that campfire scene.
Oh, yeah.
You got these, rough cowboys.
Yeah.
All bravado, tough guys.
Right.
Reduced to, well,
Oh, farting around a campfire.
starting around the campfire. Exactly.
Clearly.
Slapstick genius.
Oh, it's so good. Sheer genius.
I can practically smell the beans just thinking about it.
Oh, yeah.
But then, right alongside these absurd gags,
Yeah.
Brooks hits you with these incredibly pointed observations
Yes.
about racism and bigotry.
Oh, for sure.
It's like he's holding up a mirror to society and saying,
Yeah.
look how ridiculous this is.
Exactly.
It's so good.
And that's what makes his satire so brilliant.
Yeah.
It's not just funny.
Right.
It makes you think about these uncomfortable truths,
Yeah.
about the way people think,
Yeah.
and the way they act.
Totally. And it doesn't stop there.
No.
Remember that scene where the film breaks through the wall of the studio?
Oh, yeah.
And it spills out onto other movie sets?
Breaks the fourth wall.
Breaks the fourth wall, yeah.
So good.
It's just pure chaos.
It is.
In the best way possible.
The best way, yeah.
It's brilliant.
That, to me, is like peak Mel Brooks.
Oh, totally.
He's not afraid to break the fourth wall.
Yeah. Poke fun at how films are made.
Right.
And even satirize Hollywood itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like he's saying, hey, we're all in on the joke here.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now, a movie like this wouldn't work
Yeah.
without like a phenomenal cast.
Right.
And Blazing Saddles has one for the ages.
It really does.
The chemistry between Cleavon Little, who plays Bart,
Yeah.
and Gene Wilder.
Oh, yeah.
It's electric.
They're great together.
It's so good.
It's the perfect pairing.
Yeah.
You got Little's just smooth charm
Yeah.
and that quick wit
Yeah.
playing off of Wilder's just deadpan delivery.
They're so good.
And perfect timing.
Yeah. It's a masterclass in comedic contrast.
It really is.
For sure. And we can't forget Madeline Kahn
Oh, Madeline
as
Kahn.
Lily von Stupp.
Yeah.
The
Entertainer.
the entertainer, yeah.
With a heart of gold.
Heart of Gold, yeah.
Yes.
Hilariously over the top. It's no wonder she got an Oscar nomination for it.
Yes. Which is so rare for a comedic role.
Yeah, totally.
It really speaks to her talent.
Yeah.
And just the impact of the character.
Totally. Speaking of talent.
Yeah.
Did you know that Richard Pryor co-wrote the screenplay for Blazing Saddles?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And what's even more interesting is that he was actually considered for the lead role.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Studio execs were worried about, his reputation.
Oh, right.
So he didn't end up getting the part.
Man, that makes you wonder what his version of Bart would have been like.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Pryor was a comedic genius.
Yeah.
He brought this raw honesty to his work.
Yeah.
I imagine his take on Bart would have been even more,
yeah,
pointed and provocative.
Oh, totally. And here's another bit of trivia that, blew my mind.
Okay.
Gene Wilder wasn't the first choice for the Waco Kid.
He wasn't. That's right.
Can you believe that?
Mel Brooks originally cast Gig Young.
Wow.
But he got sick on set.
Oh, no.
And Wilder stepped in.
Wow. Talk about a lucky break.
I know, right?
It's hard to imagine anyone else as the Waco Kid.
Yeah, it's one of those perfect casting moments that makes you really appreciate how things work out sometimes.
Yeah.
For the best,
Yeah, totally. Okay, before we move on to the film's lasting impact,
right.
I got to share one more behind-the-scenes thing.
Okay.
You would not believe the pushback Brooks got from the studio about the content of this film.
Wow.
They were terrified.
Yeah.
Especially that beans scene.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Brooks had to fight tooth and nail to keep it in.
Really?
He famously said, if you're going to show cowboys eating beans, there better be consequences.
Oh, my God. I love that.
It's so good.
Thank goodness he stood his ground.
I know, right?
It's one of the most memorable scenes in comedy.
Totally.
Brooks understood humor could be this powerful tool to address even really sensitive topics.
Yeah.
He didn't shy away.
No.
He leaned right in.
And it worked. Audiences loved it.
They did, yeah.
But it wasn't just about pushing boundaries for the sake of it.
Right.
There was real intelligence behind his outrageousness.
Totally. He used that over-the-top humor to show how hypocritical and absurd prejudice is, make people laugh, but also challenge their beliefs.
It's amazing.
It's pretty remarkable.
It is.
It brings us to what makes Blazing Saddles so great.
Yeah.
It's not just funny.
Right.
It dares to say something real about the world.
Using laughter as its weapon.
Exactly.
Well said.
Yeah.
I think it's time we shift gears a bit.
Okay.
And explore the lasting impact of this film.
Yeah.
How did a film as seemingly outrageous as Blazing Saddles become such a classic?
Right.
Yeah,
that's a good question.
Yeah.
And I think it's all about how Brooks balances humor with social commentary.
Yeah.
He knew laughter could disarm people.
Yeah.
Make them open to new ideas.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Using humor like a Trojan horse to sneak in some serious messages.
Leading him in.
It's so clever.
Yeah.
But before we go too deep into that,
sure,
I think it's time to tap into your expertise.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See what unique insights we can uncover
about
about Blazing Saddles and its legacy.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Okay.
It's interesting to think how a film like Blazing Saddles would be received today.
Yeah.
Some people say it just couldn't be made now.
Really? Why not?
Well,
I mean, prejudice and social injustice haven't exactly disappeared.
Right. But the comedy landscape,
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely changed.
Yeah.
We're a lot more aware now about the power of language.
Yeah.
Representation, which is good.
Yeah.
But it means a film that uses so many stereotypes and offensive humor might face a lot more pushback.
Yeah. I see your point.
Yeah.
There's definitely more sensitivity now to those issues.
For sure.
But isn't that part of what makes Blazing Saddles so brilliant?
Oh, yeah.
It throws those stereotypes right back in our faces.
Right back at us.
Making us confront how ridiculous they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Brooks wasn't trying to endorse those prejudices.
Right.
He used satire to expose them. To make us laugh at how ridiculous they are.
Right.
But it's a fine line.
Yeah.
And it's a conversation we need to have.
Yeah.
How do we use humor to talk about serious things without making them seem less important?
Yeah.
Or even causing more harm?
Right.
Blazing Saddles seems to find that sweet spot.
Yeah.
But it's tricky.
It's like walking a tightrope.
It is.
It makes you wonder if a modern day Blazing Saddles would even be possible. Like, what issues would it even deal with? How
Yeah.
would it handle those sensitivities
Right.
and still be sharp and satirical?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Imagine
Yeah.
if Brooks took on cancel culture,
Oh, wow.
the echo chambers on social media,
Yeah.
or even how we get our news now,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
in this like super partisan world.
Yeah.
It'd be fascinating.
Yeah.
A little scary, to be honest.
I know, right?
Yeah,
It's like a challenge to comedians today.
it is.
Can you be as bold and insightful as Blazing Saddles
Yeah.
and speak to what's going on right now?
Yeah.
You know?
It's a tall order,
It is.
but I think it's worth trying.
For sure.
Blazing Saddles proved that humor can be a powerful tool
Yeah.
for social commentary,
Yeah.
that laughter can spark change.
Okay, but it wasn't all about social issues, right?
Right.
Blazing Saddles takes on Hollywood, too.
Oh, yeah.
The whole movie sends up classic Western.
Oh, absolutely. Brooks is always making fun of
Yeah.
those Western tropes and cliches,
Yeah.
playing with our expectations,
Right.
turning those familiar elements on their head.
Total, like that scene
Yeah.
where the Waco kid's talking about his acting career
Uh-huh.
and how he was always the bad guy because
Yeah.
of his race.
Right.
So funny.
Yeah.
But it also shows...
But it also highlights
Yeah.
the real struggles
Right.
that actors of color faced
Yeah.
and still face
Yeah.
in Hollywood.
Exactly.
And that's what makes Blazing Saddles so great.
Yeah.
It's a comedy, a satire,
Uh-huh.
a Western,
Yeah.
a commentary on race and Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's all those things.
All at once.
All at once.
And it just pulls it off.
And it works. Yeah.
With such wit and intelligence.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's like a masterclass
Yeah.
in how to use humor to dismantle power,
Uh-huh.
challenge stereotypes,
Right.
and make us laugh at ourselves
Yeah.
all at the same time.
It's pretty incredible.
And it never feels preachy
Right.
or heavy-handed.
No, it's just pure fun.
It's just fun. Yeah.
Even when it's dealing with serious stuff.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
It's a testament to Brooks,
It is.
to his genius.
Totally.
He knew how to entertain
Yeah.
and make you think
Yeah.
at the same time.
It's a rare gift.
It is a rare gift.
So let's talk about the legacy of Blazing Saddles.
Okay.
How did a film that was so controversial
Right.
become so beloved?
Yeah.
What impact did it have on comedy and film?
Well, for one thing,
Yeah.
it opened the door for a bolder, more subversive kind of comedy.
Yeah.
It showed that you could push the envelope,
Yeah.
tackle tough topics,
Right.
and still be funny.
Yeah.
It broke down the walls
Yeah.
between highbrow
Uh-huh.
and lowbrow humor.
Yeah.
It showed you could be smart
Right.
and silly
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah.
It gave other filmmakers permission
Yeah.
to be bold,
Mhm.
take risks,
Yeah.
use humor as a weapon
Right.
against hypocrisy and injustice.
Yeah.
And it did it with so much wit and smarts
Yeah.
that few films can match,
It's true.
comedies or otherwise.
You know, it's funny. I was reading this article the other day that
Yeah.
said Blazing Saddles couldn't be made today.
Really?
Yeah. The author was like,
Right.
our culture is too sensitive now,
Mm-hmm.
too easily offended.
Interesting.
What do you think about that?
It's an interesting argument.
Yeah.
And there's definitely some truth to it.
Yeah.
We're in a different time now.
Yeah.
We're more aware of the impact of language
Uh-huh.
and how we represent people.
Right.
But I don't think that means
Yeah.
we should avoid difficult conversations
Yeah.
or shy away from using humor to tackle tough issues.
I agree. Maybe it's not about remaking Blazing Saddles exactly.
Right.
But finding new ways
Yeah.
to use humor to challenge the status quo,
Haha.
expose hypocrisy,
Yeah.
and get people thinking while they're laughing.
Absolutely. And I think that's the true legacy of Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
It's not just the jokes.
Right.
It's that spirit,
Yeah.
the courage to be bold, to be outrageous,
Right.
to use humor as a force for good.
I love that. You know, when you put it like that,
Yeah.
it makes me wonder
Yeah.
if Blazing Saddles were made today,
Uh-huh.
what would it look like?
Right.
What issues would it make fun of?
Yeah.
What kind of impact would it have?
That's a great question.
It is.
And I think it's worth thinking about.
Totally. Let's put on our screenwriter hats for a minute.
Okay.
And imagine what would a modern Blazing Saddles go after?
Well, we talked about a few things.
Mhm.
Cancel culture,
Yeah.
social media,
Right.
the polarization of politics,
Yeah.
but there's so much more.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
What about the 24/7 news cycle?
Oh.
The obsession with celebrities
Right.
The rise of AI.
Oh, the AI angle is interesting.
Yeah.
Imagine a robot sheriff
I know, right?
trying to enforce the law
Yeah.
in a town full of people obsessed with tech and algorithms.
I could see it.
Oh, it'd be so good.
Self-driving stagecoach.
Oh, man.
A shootout at the virtual saloon.
Yeah.
The possibilities are endless.
I'm getting excited just thinking about it.
I know.
But seriously,
Yeah.
what do you think Brooks would say about the world today?
Yeah.
Would he think it's ripe for satire?
Right.
Or would he be too bummed out?
You know, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Brooks has always been able to find humor
Uh-huh.
in the darkest places.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to tackle tough issues,
No.
to hold up a mirror
Yeah.
and make us laugh at how absurd we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what makes Blazing Saddles so timeless.
It is.
It reminds us that even when things are crazy, humor can be a powerful tool for change.
It can.
It's a good reminder to not take ourselves too seriously,
Yeah.
to embrace the absurdity of life and use laughter as a weapon against ignorance and injustice.
Beautifully said.
I think we've covered just about everything about
Shit.
Blazing Saddles.
We did a deep dive.
We did. From the plot and the characters to how funny it is and
Yeah.
its lasting impact.
Sure.
But before we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
I want to leave our listeners with one final thought-provoking question.
Right.
If Blazing Saddles were made today, what do you think it would be satirizing?
Oh, man.
Would it still be the Wild West? Or would Brooks find like a whole new frontier to make fun of? And like, could it even be as funny and thought-provoking as the original?
I mean, those are great questions.
Yeah.
It's fun to imagine Brooks taking on today's world
Right.
with his signature style.
Yeah.
You know?
Like satire and slapstick?
Oh, yeah.
Would he go after influencer culture?
Totally.
Or maybe do a hilarious musical number
Uh-huh.
about the dangers of online dating?
Oh, a musical number
Yeah.
about dating algorithms gone wrong.
Yes.
That's gold.
Oh, it'd be so good.
Yeah.
But seriously,
Yeah.
I wonder if Brooks would tackle
Uh-huh.
how divided our society is now.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Blazing Saddles was all about
Uh-huh.
breaking down those walls,
Right.
finding common ground,
Yeah.
even with all the prejudice and bigotry.
Yeah.
Could he do that in today's world?
Right.
Where everyone's like, stuck in their own little bubbles.
Yeah. It's a challenge.
It is.
But Brooks, he'd find a way, I think, to bridge the gap,
Yeah.
to use humor to show how absurd it is that we're so divided.
Totally.
Maybe he'd have a scene
Yeah.
with two families.
Okay.
One super conservative,
Yeah.
the other super liberal, forced to work together
Okay.
to survive some hilarious natural disaster.
Oh my God. I love
Something that brings them together
Yes.
in the end.
I can see it now. A montage of them arguing about politics
Yeah.
while they're trying to build a raft out of Majay hats
Right.
and Bernie Sanders bumper sticker.
Exactly.
The visual comedy alone
Oh,
would be
yeah.
amazing.
So good.
But beyond the laughs,
Yeah.
I think it would be a great way to remind people
Yeah.
that we have more in common
Right.
than we think.
Absolutely. And that's what makes Blazing Saddles so timeless.
Yeah.
It's a reminder
Yeah.
that laughter can bring people together,
Totally.
break down barriers,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
challenge the status quo.
It's a film that celebrates what makes us human, even when it's poking fun at our flaws.
Yeah.
You know?
Our little quirks.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And that's the message we should take away from
Yeah.
this deep dive. Whether you're a diehard fan of Blazing Saddles or just discovering it now, remember that humor can be a force for good.
It can be.
It can make us think.
Yeah.
It can make us feel.
Yeah.
And it can even inspire us
Uh-huh.
to make the world a little better.
It can.
Yeah.
And it can definitely make us laugh till we cry.
Yeah.
And speaking of things that can make you cry,
Yeah.
remember, never underestimate the power of beans.
That's right, because as we learned from Blazing Saddles, some things are just too funny to forget.
So true.
So keep those classic films rolling.
Keep laughing.
Keep laughing.
And keep those deep dives coming.
Absolutely.